Hello everybody, and welcome to our introductory series on how to cultivate a daily meditation practice. My name is Tenzin Namjong. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is, what is meditation? So here, meditation in Tibetan is the word gom. And gom has a connotation of familiarization or habituation. So what we're doing with our meditation practice is we're trying to familiarize or habituate our minds with virtuous objects through a conscientious application of directed attention. Now, although there are many kinds of meditation practices, if we boil them all down, we can categorize them into two. One is an analytic meditation, and one is placement meditation. So here, as we start off, we're going to be focusing more on placement meditation. And placement meditation is so called because we take our mind's attention and try to place it on one object and then hold our mind's attention there on the object without letting it waver or be distracted by other thoughts or other sounds or sensory perceptions. Now, the most famous and common meditation that most beginners start out with is a meditation that we call meditation on the mindfulness of the breath. So here, every meditation has an object. And in this meditation, we're using the breath as an object. The advantage to this type of meditation is that every one of you is breathing. And so everyone who is breathing can do this meditation. We don't need to take on any kind of other beliefs or visualizations or chanting of some mantras in strange languages, but just simply breathe. And then as we breathe, we'll notice that there'll be some sensations in the body. And here there are two traditions that have appeared. One is, as we breathe in and out, you'll notice that the abdomen will rise and fall with the inhalation and exhalation. So actually, although we say it's meditation on mindfulness of the breath, what we're focusing on is the sensations in the body as we breathe. So as we breathe in, we'll notice that the abdomen expands. And then we'll become aware of that expansion, and maybe the clothes will come into contact with the skin. Whatever kind of sensations are there, put your mind's awareness on that. The other tradition that has come up is using the place above the lips and in the nostril area to focus on the sensations there. And here, as we inhale, we might notice that there's some coolness on the skin as we inhale and exhale. So you can use either of those 2 points, either the abdomen or the place in the upper lip and nostril area, to place your mind's attention. And you can think of that area then as your home during this meditation. Now, during this meditation, what we're going to be doing is just focusing on the natural breath as it is. So as opposed to some kind of pranayama type exercises where you try to hold the breath or breathe deeply or breathe in and out of one nostril or another, here we're just laying bare witness to the natural breath as it is. Here in this context, it doesn't really matter if the breath is long or short, rough, patchy, or smooth, but rather the point is to become aware of what the breath is in this present moment. So the advantage of this type of meditation, it is said, is it is the best for letting go of the discursive thoughts, the so-called monkey mind, which is constantly like a soundtrack in a movie, constantly chattering and playing in the background. And this very chattering and background noise of our life then creates all kinds of subtle mental disturbance all throughout our day, all throughout our lives. And as long as we have this playing in the background, then really we cannot attain the inner peace that we're so desperately seeking. So here, we try to let go of all of the different thoughts that are chasing after the future or thinking about the past. And we try to just abide in the present moment. And the advantage of this meditation is that as we get in tune with the sensations, all the sensations take place in the present moment. So as we can become in tune with the sensations, we are naturally becoming in tune with the present moment. So while we do this meditation, we can think of our home as being the breath. But invariably, since our minds are not yet subdued, we will encounter some thoughts bubbling up to the surface of our mind. And that's okay. Notice those thoughts. Be aware of the thoughts, but then let them go. Do not engage with them. And as we do that, the analogy is like if we draw using a stick on the surface of a pond, then as soon as the drawing is made, it will dissolve back into the surface of the water. In the same way, if we don't engage with our thoughts, then those thoughts too will dissolve back into the nature of the mind. So this process is called non-judgmental awareness. We're aware of the discursive thoughts. We're aware of sounds and other type of sensory input that would usually take us away from the object of our meditation. But here, although we observe them, we don't engage in them, and then letting go, they no longer add fuel to the fire of discursive thoughts, and we can then return back to the present moment, and we can turn back to the breath. That is what we're trying to do with our meditation. We're trying to work on two main factors of the mind. One is called mindfulness, which is the faculty of mind that holds on to one object. And two is introspection. And here what we mean is that although most of our mind we will try to use focusing on the breath, about 85% or so will be focused on the breath. Then the other 15% we will use one part of the mind looking at the mind itself and checking the quality of our meditation, checking to see, have we wandered off to another object? Have we started to become drowsy? Are we about to fall asleep? And so forth. So this is like an internal spy that is an internal quality control of our meditation. And so we use that, and then when we determine that, for example, our mind has wandered off, then without judging ourselves, we then just gently bring our mind's attention back to the breath. So one common thing I hear from many beginners is that they tell me, oh no, after I've started meditation, then my mind has become even more distracted. Well, that is not the case. Actually, our mind has always been distracted. But before, we didn't even notice the distraction. And now that we start to sit, we see that our mind is actually becoming distracted. And therefore, we should even view this as a good thing. Why? Because the first step into creating a better mode of concentration is to notice the distraction. Then after we notice the distraction, we can come to correct it. And the correcting is not by trying to, force the thoughts out of the mind, but rather just the mere non-engagement with the thoughts will have them naturally dissolve back into the nature of the mind. Just as the waves on the surface of a turbulent ocean will, once the energy ceases, those too will dissolve back into the nature of the mind.